Good day, everybody, and welcome. I'd like to greet my students from St. Paul on the Lake and also my students from Christ the King in Detroit. And I've missed you an awful lot, and I've missed teaching you, and hope to see you soon. From the beginning of the year, I've been wanting to do an organ tour of the organs that are at St. Paul or Christ the King, because you both are lucky churches, and you both have beautiful pipe organs. But since we're not meeting at school or in churches, I'm grateful that I have a church that has a pipe organ. So I'm going to give you an organ tour today of the organ here at St. Mary in Wayne. I've been here for 32 years, and I've been fortunate enough to have such a wonderful organ and a great congregation and a wonderful choir. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of an organ tour. And you can see here, the organ actually, boys and girls, is here. Everybody says, where's the organ? Where's the organ? And they point to the console over here. That's not the organ. That's the console, and the organ is the pipes. Now, although this is one organ, there are two divisions, what we call divisions. There's this side of the pipes, which is called the grate, and this side of the pipes, which is called the swell. And the organ is a very, very old instrument. It's older than the piano, older than the harpsichord, and actually can be found really back into Roman times when they used to pump air into water and have at the Colosseum and play an instrument that was kind of like an organ called the hydraulis. And I kind of gave you a clue today on how the organ works. What's the difference between a piano and an organ? Well, the piano, even though they both have keys and I can play the same key and get the same sound, it's how they produce sounds. So the piano produces sound by taking a string, and there's a hammer that comes down and hits that string and makes the sound. Well, how does the organ make a sound? It makes a sound by a blower, which is on the inside of the swell organ, which pumps air into right underneath the pipes. And when you play a key, there's a magnet underneath that pulls down and lets the air run through that pipe. So that makes that pipe sound. So we're going to compare the sounds of a piano and an organ and how they work together. So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to start on the piano and then go to the organ to show you how it works. The piano, everybody, and those of you who play piano, know that when I play a C, I get the pitch C on the piano. But if I just play one pitch at a time, that's all I'm getting. To make that sound bigger, I can do this and play the C above and make a bigger sound here. Well, how do I make that sound even larger? I can do a C here, a C below, and a C below that. All right, so my hands are like this, and I'm... So what I'm playing is the actual pitches, and in order to make the sound bigger, I have to include more keys on the piano. Well, the organ has a really neat trick that I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to go over here to the console and show you. So boys and girls, what we have here is an organ console that has the keys of the great and the keys of the swell, which is great's over here and swell's over here. Now I can make the same kind of sound as a piano, and I'm going to push down a flute 8 foot, which means when I play this key, that low C, the pipe that's playing that is approximately 8 feet long. Now, when I'm playing this, that's all I can get. But there's a trick. I can make 4 or 5 notes by playing this one note. So if I want to get an octave higher, I can go from an 8 foot, divide that by 2, make it in half. That would be a 4 foot. So I've got 2 pitches from the one pitch. If I want to make it another octave higher and not have to move my finger, I can just go, I have 3 notes now from 1. Well, what happens if I want to go 1 octave lower? Well, I can't go any higher, so I have to do something. There's an 8 foot. I'm going to put a 16 foot on that. Do you hear the 16 foot? Now I have 4 notes from the one note. So I can create this sound. And everybody seems to recognize that piece of music. But, boys and girls, there's something else the organ has besides the great and the swell. And as most of you recognize, is the pedal board too. So the pedals are about the organ, but they create the bass line. So we can have a bass line that can go down we can have a big, big sound on that. So we can build our sound from the pedal down here to the great, to the swell, and we make that beautiful sound. So now we can take that same piece of music and make it really big. And now we add the pedal, and we can build on that sound. So in a way, it's like a whole orchestra at your fingertips. You have all these pipes and all these wonderful sounds that are coming through, and we have some really cool things that we can do with the organ too. We can separate the great. Here's the great. We can add that melody, and then we can add a bass line to it. On the swell, and then I can put the melody in the bass, in the pedals. So we have the great here, swell here, and the pedal here playing the melody. Let's put it all together. So we have a little bit of a trio going on here where you have the higher instruments, the lower instruments, and the melody way on the bass. Well, we have another little trick that we use sometimes too. Now, with the piano, if you want to start playing, you can just sit right down and start playing the keys, a nice big sound. But I can't stay here if I want a big sound on the organ all of a sudden and push down every tab that I want. It'll take time. I can't do it right away. So what happens is we have these little pistons here that are preset in which I can do any sound I want. All of a sudden with nothing. And I have a cancel. So you have a preset. And you can add all different kinds of sounds to it that you want quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a full piece with a big sound with the great, the swell, and the pedal. All three of them at one time. Take a listen. So you can have all those sounds at one time and creating a nice, beautiful ensemble. And you can go back and forth. Some of you may know this piece too. Some of you, if you've been to weddings, you may have heard this piece played too. So I'm going to put the trumpet or the reed on the swell and have the accompaniment in the great, and of course with the pedal. And I'm going to go back and forth between different sounds. Listen. Now I need to go to a big sound, so I just push a piston. Now I'm going back to the original sound. Then back to big sound. So that's essentially how the organ works. And there's organs all over the world. This organ here is kind of a medium-sized organ, but there's big organs that you can find all over the world. So you all have an assignment that I want you to do. I want you to go on the internet and find me one pipe organ in any country, France, England, Belgium, and I want you to take the picture and send it to me in my email at St. Paul on the Lake. And I just want to wish you all a happy day, and I will be seeing you soon, hopefully. Thank you very much.